So Turbro gave me an air conditioner. It's a rooftop air conditioner, and this is an inverter air conditioner. It has a couple benefits. It has a heat pump also, which means that instead of running an electric heater, let's say you have 1,000 watt electric heater, this inverter heat pump will basically heat the same amount of capacity as the 1,000 watt heater, but at about 200 or 300 watts of power output. So you'll save, the number is like 3.8 times the amount of energy. What this means is that during the winter time, instead of having to rely on your propane to heat, your RV, on those, moderately cold nights, you can use the heat pump on your air conditioner, and you can run it off your battery or off your generator or whatever you need to run it off of, and it'll use less power. This gives you options so you can still, go boondocking with this heat pump running, and you don't have to eat into your propane. Now, on cold nights, like below 32 degrees, I would say you still would need your propane heat, because below 32 degrees, heat pumps start to really struggle to work. So when it gets really cold, you'll still need to run your propane for that. But anything warmer than 32, those typical cold nights, you'll be able to use the heat pump instead of having to eat into your propane. Now, when it comes to cooling your RV, that's where this shines. This thing is an inverter air conditioner. As you can see right now, it's running right now. So it's I don't want to say it's loud, but it's maybe 30%, maybe 35% quieter than a standard RV air conditioner. So it is quieter, and you can definitely sleep with this thing running. It's not, noisy, let's say, but it's still not, whisper quiet. So it's a good compromise, for what it is, what it's doing. It's going to be able to save me energy. It's a great compromise for that. Now, installation process, this thing was a breeze. Either it's a direct replacement for a standard air conditioner, it'll just wire right up, or if you had a fan hole that was 14.25 inches, you can just open that up and throw this right on there. So for direct replacement, it's really easy. And my hole, even though it called for 14.25 inches for the hole size, mine was 14 inches, and it still fit in there just fine. So it'll still fit. Now, roof thickness. My RV I got an 18-foot RV. The roof thickness, I think, is about 3.5 inches deep, and it went just fine. Any deeper, they have little adjustment pads that'll help you out to get the depth. And I think it goes like to 8 inches deep on the roof. So it'll pretty much fit almost any RV out there. You can read the specs on Turbro to see what depth of the roof it'll work on. But it overall works on, pretty much any RV. I was a little nervous because my roof, it's only that thick, and it worked just fine, perfectly fine on it. Now, the big benefits of this: for one, it's quieter, and for two, it's going to take less energy. This means that when I go boondocking, which I know a lot of people love boondocking, and that includes going to, like a Cracker Barrel overnight. Instead of burning up in your RV, you can run this off your battery and keep your RV nice and cool while you're, not sucking the battery dry. I think that's really nice. And what it generally does is it uses about 300 watts of power output to run the air conditioner. What this is really cool about is a standard RV air conditioner, uses about, I think it's 2,600 to 3,000 watts of power. So it takes a ton of power, and then it kicks down. But you still need, a high energy inverter to run those old RV air conditioners. Where this one, you can run this thing off of a 1,200 watt inverter, and it's going to run that air conditioner just fine. You don't need to buy those starters for your air conditioner. So when you think of that way for cost wise, if you bought a standard air conditioner, then you have to buy a starter to start it up. And then you'd have to have a bigger generator if you're going to run it off the generator. So there's a lot of costs involved with the standard ones, and it's going to be louder. So this, where I'm going to be running low wattage, I don't need a giant generator to run this thing, and it sips on the batteries. So it has a really win-win case for that. And like I said, it cools the RV. I have an 18-footer, and it's 13.5K RV air conditioner, so it'll probably cool up to a 26-footer just fine, not a problem at all. But if you have anything bigger, you would probably need 2 of these. Now, a lot of people wonder, can you run 2 of these, on a 30 amp service? And the answer to this is yes. You can put 2 of these in your RV if you have a big giant RV, and on a 30 amp service, run both of them. So that's another benefit on it, is you can be at the lower service level and run it. And if you are mooch docking, you can plug it into a house because it's not going to draw a lot of amps. So it's a win for that. I think overall, I've been wanting to get an RV inverter air conditioner in this RV for a long time, and this rooftop one just really, really does it. So I really like that. So I think that's it for this episode. The next one I'm going to do will be showing you the proof, the proof of how many watts this thing draws down over a period of time, how long it draws the battery down. And I want to show you, the proof numbers of how efficient this air conditioner is. So that's it for now. And again, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe because you make it happen.